Alright, guys, be sure to stick around to the end of this episode to hear why I think the Tesla and LG Chem relationship may be a lot bigger than just supplying Giga Shanghai. As of now, Panasonic, LG Chem, and CATL have been contracted to supply batteries for the Made in China Model 3. Panasonic was supplying cells for the ramp-up phase, but as of February, it seems as though battery supply has shifted to 100% from LG Chem. This makes sense as LG's factory in Nanjing is not that far from Giga Shanghai. Later this year, CATL will be added to the mix. If you missed our episode on Tesla and CATL, be sure to check that out at the outro of this episode. Alright, let's simplify the picture. Panasonic produces cells for Model S and Model X in Japan and for Model 3 and Model Y at Giga Nevada. LG Chem supplies Giga Shanghai from its plant in Nanjing, China, and will also now supply Tesla from its plant in South Korea this year as well. CATL will be supplying Giga Shanghai later this year. LG Chem recently secured a bigger order of batteries from Tesla due to increased demand for the Model 3 in China. On Twitter, Moneyball added Tesla and LG Chem agreed on 10 to 13 gigawatt hours of supply based on their initial agreement. Details of the expanded agreement have not been disclosed. However, let's assume a 200,000 vehicle production capacity at Giga Shanghai for Phase 1 as Tesla mentioned in their Q1 2020 update. If the average battery pack size was 62.5 between 50 and 75 kilowatt hours, that would result in 12.5 gigawatt hours needed annually at Giga Shanghai. For the math, 1 gigawatt hour is equivalent to 1 million kilowatt hours. Of course, Tesla has plans to continue to increase capacity and begin construction of the Model Y there as well, so increased battery supply will be necessary. Now, before getting too far ahead of ourselves, let's understand who LG Chem is. LG Chem Limited, or LG Chemical, is the largest Korean chemical company. Headquartered in Seoul, South Korea, it was the 10th largest chemical company in the world by sales in 2017. LG Chem has three main business areas: basic materials and chemicals, IT and electronics materials, and energy solutions, the arm we'll focus on for EV battery solutions. LG has 5 battery plants in South Korea, China, the US, and Poland with a total capacity of roughly 70 gigawatt hours now, but that number should exceed 100 gigawatt hours by the end of 2020 with expansions underway. Their US factory is in Holland, Michigan, where they supply GM. The $300 million Holland plant received 50% of its funding from the U.S. Department of Energy and started making battery solutions in 2013. LG makes both cylindrical style and pouch style cells. Lucid Motors actually recently chose to use LG's cylindrical cells as other automakers like Audi and Jaguar were forced to delay production due to a shortage in supply of the pouch-style cells. LG Chem is predominantly known for their pouch cells. They are also well known for their SRS technology, or safety reinforcing separator. They obtained a patent for the tech back in 2014, and they hold the patent rights in South Korea, the US, Europe, Japan, and China. SRS serves a crucial process by using a thin coating of ceramic material to increase safety of batteries by separating negative and positive poles. They use a nano-ceramic coating layer that results in a high thermal stability and rigidity. This was apparently a key to them being chosen as supplier for GM, Ford, Volvo, and Hyundai. LG Chem is also investing heavily in carbon nanotubes, which has been dubbed a dream material. They spent $53 million on a production facility in South Korea to further this development. This investment will take CNT production from 500 tons per year to 1,700 tons per year, effectively tripling production. Global CNT production was only 3,000 tons in all of 2019. LG is partnered with 13 of the 20 major auto brands, working with names like Volvo, Ford, Hyundai, Kia, and GM. Speaking of GM, LG's partnership with them will be crucial in the coming years as they're building the Gigapower factory, it's called, on 158 acres in Mecca Township, Ohio. GM expects the factory will be operational by January 2022 and will employ 1,100 people. It's expected to produce 30 gigawatt hours of cells annually, which is roughly enough for 500,000 cars. This GM and LG plant could be the first unionized battery factory in the US. Giga Nevada and LG Chem's Michigan factory do not have unions. Looking at gigawatt hour deployment relative to competition, LG Chem and Panasonic deployed over 6 gigawatt hours in Q1 of this year, making up 60% of the EV battery market. CATL added roughly 3 gigawatt hours in Q1, adding another 15% of the market. In Q1 of this year, passenger vehicle cell suppliers deployed 20.5 gigawatt hours of battery capacity globally, which was actually down from 20.9 gigawatt hours in Q1 2019 and the 26.5 gigawatt hours in Q4 2019. All of this is according to data from Atomos Intelligence. Looking even further into these numbers at the cell chemistry level, NCM or nickel cobalt manganese 6 series was the most used variety, followed closely by Tesla and Panasonic's 3rd gen NCA and NCM 5 series. In 4th place was the high nickel NCM 811, which made up 9% of global market share by gigawatt hours deployed, but made up 32% in China specifically. If you want to learn more about these chemistries, I've linked an LG blog on the subject in the description for your viewing pleasure. So now for potentially the most exciting part of the episode as a reward for sticking to the end. Just a few weeks ago, Tesla announced changes to their plans at Giga Berlin that included removing battery production, which was partially in an effort to conserve water use, and reducing capacity from 500,000 vehicles a year to 100,000. If you missed this news, this is most likely just to expedite approval from the local government for permits, and eventually Tesla will make batteries and hit 500,000 cars a year at Giga Berlin. But in the event battery production is delayed there for a few years, they will of course need cell supply from someone. No more than 2 months earlier, in May of this year, LG Chem signed loan agreements with 3 South Korean banks for a total of $630 million. This money is to finance expansion of its production capacities in Poland and in Wrocław to be specific. This would take annual production capacity from 35 gigawatt hours to around 65 gigawatt hours, and by the end of 2022, this plant alone should employ around 6,000 full-time employees. Now, this is interesting because Wrocław, Poland is only a 3-hour drive to Berlin. If you ask me, an LG and Tesla deal for supply at Giga Berlin makes a ton of sense for as long as it takes for Tesla to scale battery production in-house, which, as we're learning more and more, could easily take another few years. Also recently, Elon confirmed on Twitter that eventually Tesla does have plans to build a gigafactory in Asia outside of China. The rumor mill has Japan and South Korea as eventual destinations. As of now, South Korea is the more EV-friendly location, and they do love Tesla in South Korea. The Model 3 was only launched there in 2019, and it's already far and away the best-selling imported EV in the region. Of the 4,200 imported EV sales in April, Tesla made up 3,900 of them. April sales of imported EVs jumped 660% from the year prior. So while Tesla and LG Chem are only working together at Giga Shanghai, there is potential for this partnership to develop significantly in the coming years. As always, let us know what you guys think about Tesla and LG Chem and how you see this relationship playing out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more in-depth Tesla research. And if you'd like to take the next step in supporting the research and the time that we spend on these episodes, check the link in the description for our Patreon, where you can support us for as little as $3 a month and get access to exclusive content coming this summer. Until next time, thank you guys for watching.